I'm Khalid Bryan, broker and owner of the Investment Property Gurus right here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. You've probably seen me review this book. I'm going to actually go in depth on it and help you with some of these state exam questions. Someone reached out to me the other day and she's having problems with the property description section. So let's go over some sample questions on things I personally remember being on the state exam and see if I can help you understand it better. So, right here, they love to give you questions on this square mile thing. So, what you're gonna see is a box like this. Obviously it's gonna be more symmetrical, but just stay with me. So this is 1 square mile. Alright, that's a cue. My handwriting sucks, get used to it. So 1 square mile, they're gonna ask you, actually here's a question right here. The number of acres in 1 square mile is, well, we need to know, and it's important to know that this is 640 acres in 1 square mile. All right, so let's think of a way to remember that there's 640 acres in a square mile. I mean, honestly, I just say things in like weird ways and I remember it. So I'll be like 640. Like, you know, like your credit, like, oh, what's your credit? 640. 640. 640 acres in a square mile. See, it's gonna work. So just 640. I'm gonna probably do that a couple times, make sure you get it. So in the book, let's see section C right here. So section C, that's right there. Pretend that's perfectly symmetrical. The description of tract section C is, so it's important to know your compass, north, south, west, and east. This is really important to understand this. So you'll never understand this until you get this, 640, and understand north, south, west, east. You'll always know north and south, but west and east tends to confuse people. But if you look at it, it says we. So the biggest thing to learn here is that it's always going to be an even quarter. So it's going to take this full square mile block, which is 640 acres, and it's going to ask you what corner are we looking at. So first thing it's going to do is split it up into 4 corners, right? Once you're split into 4 corners, one of these corners is going to get split up into 4 more corners. You see what I'm saying? So this is section C is in this corner. There's another corner, there's another corner, and there's another corner. Ignore the fact that my corners aren't perfectly symmetrical. I'm human, I'm not perfect. I can't draw that well. I can actually draw well, but I can't write that well. I'm actually give this to you one more way just to make sure it's clear, because this is a lot. Oh yeah. There's our square. This is 1 square mile. How many acres in a square mile? What's your credit? 640. 640 acres. Really important to know this. You're gonna fail at least 10 questions if you don't know this right here. It's gonna ask you how many acres in a square mile, 640. It's gonna do some crap like this, where it says how many acres is over here. And what you're gonna do on this side is take the 640 and divide it by 2. I don't have to do mental math. Guess what? You can go in there with a calculator. Not your phone though, you need an actual calculator. So 640 divided by 2, that means half of 1 square mile is 320 acres, right? Now what if it does this to you? And it says, how many acres is this? Guess what? I already know that half of the whole thing is 320. So now you want me to tell you half of the half? That's cool. So half of 320 divided by 2. Okay, so a quarter of 1 square mile is 160 acres, right? Now stay with me right here. This is where it's gonna get tricky, and this is where a lot of people are gonna get some wrong answers. It's gonna do this. Boop, boop. Section D. How many acres is in section D, right? Section D is in a quarter of the square mile. So we know that half is 320, right? We know half of the half, 1/4 is 160. Now we want a quarter of this quarter. So it's gonna be 160 divided by 4, because there's 4 quarters in this quarter itself. You see what I'm saying? So let's look at it like this. Quarter, 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 quarter. In this quarter, it's quarter, 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 quarter. So divided by 4, there's 40 acres. Does that make sense? Now it's going to tell you what the legal description of Plot C is. It's actually a test question right here. I'll show it to you. So this is, you need to know your compass. You got north, south, west, east. It's always going to say we when it's going the right way. So section C is in the southwest quarter of the southeast quarter. Southwest quarter of the southeast quarter. Why do I say that? Because it lives in the southeast quarter, but within this southeast quarter, it's in the southwest quarter of it. So you see how we got here? And you see how this one box gave us so many questions. So as long as you understand that there's 640 acres, 640 acres in a square mile, and you know that it's north, south, west, east, and you can cut things in half all day long. So you see you need this, you gotta go half, 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 half. Just make your own halves. You should be good with this section. Another question that's probably gonna confuse a lot of people are things like this. I really hope you can see it. Let me come over here. Okay, I got you. So, which lot, can you read it? Which lot has the most street frontage? The answer is lot 21. The reason the answer is lot 21 is because you can't forget, a lot of people are just gonna think that this is the street they're talking about. This is a whole street right here. Lot 21 has all of this 90 feet plus this 120 right here. And you may be thinking, oh, but what about the one under it? Look at that. That's only 90 feet by 117. That's far less than 90 by 120. That makes lot 21 the most street frontage. The easiest way to calculate the street frontage and see who truly has the most is to take this 90 and multiply it by that 120, and that'll give you the actual square footage of street frontage. So hopefully that helps you on that. Let's see what else we can go in here and find. Okay, I just found a doozy. You ready for this? A parcel of land is square. That's a square. Half a mile by half a mile. How many acres does it contain? All right. Okay, so a parcel of land is square. Half a mile by half a mile. So here's the thing. You may think half and half, oh, it's a half. But if it's a half of this, how the heck is it square? That's a rectangle. So I'm thinking this. Half a mile by half a mile. So you're telling me it goes up a half a mile? Just like that, because this is a full mile. It goes up a half a mile, and it goes over a half a mile. That is a square. That is a quarter of the full acre. So it's asking how many acres does it contain? So we're gonna go 640 divided by 4, 160. Is that the right answer? Let's look at our little answer key, B. Yeah, look at that. It's another one for you. I hope that helps. Okay, here's a quick and easy question. The line behind which all buildings on a lot must be placed behind is called the answer is setback. Now, in the test, this is a test question. I've seen it twice because I passed the test twice. It's setback or building line. It's not construction limit. It's not back up or set down. It's not set line. What the hell is a set line? It's setback line because all properties better set back behind that line or else you're gonna get a fine. You can use that. You better set back behind that line before you get a fine. I sound like my granddaddy. Shout out to Joe. I hope that helped you. Good luck. If there's any questions you've had on the state exam, drop it below. For more, I highly recommend you get this Barron's book, Barron's Florida Real Estate Exams. It's on Amazon. There's a link below. If you haven't started real estate school yet, there's a link to realestateexpress.com in my description.